Yo, what's up guys? Juk here, just going to be doing a tutorial just for players, like I said on Twitter, just something simple, some basic things you can do just to make your clips look a little bit better, and you don't have to go to an editor so you can be like shut down halfway through. So hopefully this helps you guys out. I'm just going to jump straight into it. So you go open up After Effects. I just got CC 2014. It's real simple to get, whether you want to buy it or just get it any other way, it doesn't matter, it's easy as. So once you open it up, you'll be given this panel. Might not look exactly like mine's more adjusted to personal, but should look something similar to this. You just want to grab all your files that you're going to bring into this edit or whatever you're doing. So I've just got a song and just got one clip as well, just Red Green's clip. Just a multi on Redwood. So I'm not doing anything too fancy, I'm just going to do the music and the clip, just keep it simple. So once you've imported them, you've dragged them into your project panel, which is just this one over here to the left. What you're going to want to do is make a new composition, so you can actually put your stuff and put it all together. So you can either right click in this panel over here, bring up new composition, or you can go down to this little box over here, which is create a new composition, same thing. So that'll bring up this little box. This is just your layout for the composition. So your resolution, your frame rate, how long your actual comp's going to go for, all that sort of thing. So I'm just going to keep mine at 720 because I think that's what the clips are at. Frame rate at 30. You don't really want to go to above 30. You don't want to go to 60 because then you can notice the slips of the frames on YouTube. It looks a bit messy. And I'm just going to go 1 minute just to keep it stock standard. You can always change it once you're finished. So just hit OK. Next thing we want to do is drag your audio or your song just down to this panel over here. So now you can see this is how long your composition is. It goes all the way to a minute, regardless of what you put in here. So I'm just going to bring up the waveform of the music so you can actually see the beats that we want to sync to. So to do that, you can either press L twice, which will bring it up, or you can just go over here to this arrow over here, go down, audio, waveform. To zoom in and out on your actual layer, to just get into like the real details, like each keyframe, just this little, I think it's zoom in like a little mountain or whatever, in and out, and once you zoomed in, you can drag it across. So just drag it across your composition. For this particular song, I'll be using it a bit further into the song, so I'm just going to find that. I think it's over here. So to get to a specific point in any layer, whether it's an audio file or a video file, you just click on it and drag it across. Pretty simple. I'm not going to go into any like shortcuts or too many shortcuts. Just trying to keep it simple here. So yeah, just going to start it over here. Zoom in. So just give it a listen. So I want the clip to start on that drop right there. So zoom in, you can kind of see it. So the first thing you want to do with your audio file is keyframe it. So you just bring this one across, this little sort of house, upside down house looking thing. It's a keyframe, or it's a marker. Bring that across to where that red line is. That's where the bass drop is. So that's your first marker. You can either do that, or you can just hit Shift 1, that'll bring it across, or Shift 2, Shift, etc. Like just going on. So that marks the first beat, and probably the first shot, depends on how you want to edit it. So if you listen to it, I'll just sync all my markers up so it's easier. Right, so I've just finished syncing it all up. Just all the keyframes, so each keyframe is now on a beat, or it should be at least close to. I think that one's a little bit off, but whatever. So now what you're going to want to do is bring in your clip, just drag it below the audio. So that's the first beat right there, that's the first beat that we want the first shot on. So this, you got your clip here, click and hold, and just drag it across until you can see he's about to shoot, or just on the shot. There it is right there. So we can just split this layer So to do that, you can either go Control-Shift-D, or you can go, while you've clicked on the layer, you can go up here just to edit, then go down to split layer, doesn't matter. So basic syncing without all the flow, that sort of thing, not getting too technical. You can either go along and just cut it up, get to the next shot, Control-Shift-D, and drag it on there. Drag to there, so it kind of flows, but you're missing a bit of the footage, so sometimes it looks a bit dodgy. So instead of doing that, we can do something called time remapping. It's a little bit more complex, but it looks a bit better. So you just right click on your layer, you go up to time, enable time remapping, or it's Control-Alt-T. That also brings it up. So what we're going to want to do is sync up each shot to the main beat of this song, and then it'll end up looking more decent than just putting the audio there and then the clip as well. So you're going to come over here to this little diamond or square on its side shape or whatever. That's called a keyframe. You just push that at the start of this where you've cut it. So that's on the first shot, that's the first keyframe. And then the next beat that I want, if I go, so the next shot is right there. So I just keyframe that, come across to where the second beat is, and drag the keyframe onto there. So now you can see the first beat, shot, second beat, shot. And these beats in between here, like 2, 4, 6, they're just the off beats. So main beat, off beat, main beat. So you want most of your shots to be on the main beats, or else it's going to sound dodgy and it's going to look dodgy. So he's taken one shot, collat, single, off beat, and then that's the final shot. So just keyframe it, drag it across. Pretty simple. And then if you want to finish it and make it look a bit nicer, you can drag just when he starts to pull the bolt back, keyframe it and put it to the next main beat. So it's shot, 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 and the clip. So you can just split the layer there, delete that. So let's just see what we have now. Alright, so it's just nice and synced up. It's not flowing that much, but it's better looking than it would be if it was just normal. So seeing as we've got like a sort of build up to the shot with the music, what you're going to want to do is, if this is the start of your song, just get the audio, come over to audio levels. If it's not there, just hit down on this arrow, should be under audio, just keyframe it again, bring it down to -48, that'll be pretty much just coming into the song, you can't really hear it that much. Come just before your first marker, enter in 0, and that'll basically build up the music so you can just hear it. Just sounds a bit better. With this starting clip just before the first shot, because if you're recording in 60 frames per second, you can drop it to half its speed. It still won't look bad, it'll still be brought down to like 29 or 30 frames. So what we're going to do is go right click on this first layer, go over to time, go time stretch, enter in 200, that'll be doubling it or halving it. And now this has doubled the footage that we've cut here. You just want to bring that across, or you can hit the open square, I think left bracket, no, right bracket. That brings it all the way to the left, or to wherever this marker is. It'll bring the end of the clip to the front of that marker. So now it's slowed down. It looks a tiny bit better. Everything's a bit slower, builds up, takes your shot. So now that we've got all that sorted, we can work on text. Most people start off like Sprat or Kitty, just start off with some text and then straight into the clip. I'm not going to get into cinematics or anything like that. So you just come up here, it should be over here, there's a little T, that's your text button. Just click it and then click onto the page. I'm just going to write tutorial Doesn't really matter what you write, whatever you want. And then you can come over here, while you're still selected the text layer, just come over to a line. If it's not there, just come up to window, and it'll be down here. You can choose it, it's right at the top. Just click on it. Once you've clicked on it, just go, this one is horizontal center, so it just centers it in the middle, horizontally. And then this one's vertical, so that'll put it square in the middle. So this, now that we've selected text layer, it's going to run over the entire clip, which is not what you want. So you go to the, where the clip starts, just cut it. So now it's not there anymore. You don't just want it to appear and then disappear, so hit T while you selected the text layer. That'll bring up the opacity. Just keyframe it again. Everything's all about keyframes, so just bring that down to 0. Bring it up to about just before the middle. Bring it up to 100, so that just makes it fade in. Keep it at 100, keyframe it again, so that's just keeping it solid. And then back down to 0, and you can just cut that there. So now what it looks like is it fades in, stays, fades out, shot. Nothing too complex, looking pretty simple. I'm just going to go over here to my last keyframe, just for this example so we can keep it short. As I said before, I created the composition, it was a minute long. That's obviously way too long, so you're going to want to grab this end bit right over here, and you can just drag it across. This is the length of your comp. If you can't be bothered getting it spot on, you can just come right down to your last marker, or wherever you want to end it, and just press N on the keyboard. That'll bring it over here. And then you just want to right click in this grey area here, the work area, trim comp to work area. Alright, so now it's just, how long? Yeah, it's not even like 10 seconds long, just what you want. So, we've got it synced, we've got the text. One more thing just before we finish on the syncing. I don't want to get too complex into it, but for the keyframe after the last shot, as he shoots, and then he zooms out and the clip ends, if you want to make it so it flows into the next clip, you can highlight the last 2 keyframes, and then just right click on one of them, go to keyframe assistant, easy ease, and then that's just selected these last 2 keyframes and made them smoother. Then once they're highlighted, you just want to come up to this, it's the graph editor, and don't get freaked out by this, it looks complex but it's not that complex. So these are basically each one of your keyframes that you've just synced to the music, and this is 5 and 7, you can say 5 and 7, so this is your last shot, that's your shot there, and that's the end of the clip there, that's the end keyframe. So if we zoom in on this, that's basically the flow of each clip, so it's gone slow, built up, fast, and then slow again. So to make it flow onto the next clip, just grab this elbow here, bring it up, and then bring this one down. You don't really ever want this line to be completely flat when you've easy anything, but just try and make it like a sort of an S shape. So that means it goes fast, slow, fast. So shoots, slow, fast. Right, so you can get out of that. You don't have to do that, that's just something that makes it look slightly better. And usually when you do that, you keyframe, or you easy ease all of these keyframes. It might not look the best when it's like this. So now that that's all done, got the basics, you want to grab all of these layers after you've finished syncing and you've done all your text and that sort of thing. You want to grab all of these layers. You can do that just by hitting Control A, or just Control and then selecting each one of the layers. And then right click on any one of the layers and pre-compose. Just name it whatever you want. This will be your final composition, so it's just made a comp over here, so you got your render queue, and then this is your new comp, and this is what we're working at the moment. So this is comp 1, so it's just pushed everything into one layer. So now we can start working on the black bars and color correction, that sort of thing. So to get black bars, what you have to do is go up to Layer, New, Solid. Just leave all this the same, should be the same as your comp. Come over here into Effects and Presets. If it's not there, again, just go to Window. It'll be down here, it's right there. Just click on it. Come over here, type in Jaws. Drag that onto your solid layer. This will bring up something over here in the Effects tab. Just go to the completion, 89%, and then drag the height down to 0. Already makes it look a bit better. Next thing is adding into a color correction. I usually use a lot of presets and just mix around with them, so I'm not too big on creating anything default. I have all my own plugins, that sort of thing, but just to create anything simple, just click on your adjustment layer, come over into Effect, come down to color correction, and then you've got all these different sorts of things you just have to mess around with it. It'll take a little while to get used to, but whatever. I'm just going to put on some hue and saturation, which is just making it either more vibrant or a little darker. So I'm going to do a little bit more saturation just because this song's kind of upbeat. Little less lightness. Add on something else. Just mess around with it. I'm pretty shit with this. Tritone. Let's go some curves. You don't have to worry too much about this sort of stuff. This is just whatever you're feeling. Alright, so you've got your black bars, you've got your color correction, you're just about done. Just one more thing, if you want to go back into your actual comp, everything's looking alright. We'll just go add some shake or pumps, screen pumps, pan and crop. So you go Layer, New, Adjustment Layer, and you want to drag this below the audio file. It doesn't really matter. Just make sure it's above all your clips. I'll just drag that text just above the adjustment layer because you don't want the text to be affected by the shake pump. So once you've got your adjustment layer highlighted, come over here into Effects and Presets again, type in Transform. There it is, drag it on. That'll give you a number of different things that you can do to the clip. We're going to mess with scale. So you can see that you need the use for keyframes is that you can easily go to each beat and you don't have to figure it out each time. So if I just go to my first beat, scale that up to 105 and then just hit the keyframe. So that's just scaled the clip up to 105. Come down onto adjustment layer and just hit U to bring up any keyframes that you have. So for example on the tutorial how we went to opacity, just hit U, that'll bring up all the keyframes that we did. So yeah, coming back to the adjustment layer, with keyframes to scale at 105 at the first beat where the shot is, just go back like 3, 4, 5, doesn't really matter. Keyframes, and just put that at 100, so it's not on 105, or the scale is at 105 the entire time. So it just builds up, and then each keyframe you can just copy the 105 and just make sure on each beat it's at 105, each main beat 105. I'll just get rid of that actually. On the small beat, you don't want them on the small beats. We can have them, but maybe make just like a smaller beat. So we've done that. Then you just want to grab all of those keyframes, or you can go over to scale, just press scale, it'll highlight them all. Easy ease them again, keyframe assistant, easy ease. Come up to this graph editor. So this is again not too daunting. You just got to take it easy, take it step by step. So this, everything else is just a flat line except when it goes from 100 to 105. That's the only time that it's going up. And to make sure that we can actually edit that and make it look a little better than just from a point A to B, just grab this shoulder, hold shift and pull it to the right, and then do the same with this one. That just makes sure it goes slow and then builds up quick. So there's many different ways to do scaling on pumps. This is just one way. I think it's the simplest way to do it. So we'll grab this shoulder between beat 1 and 3. Grab the right hand shoulder and bring it down, just on a diagonal, down to just above 95. And then we'll grab this shoulder, hold shift and pull it across a little bit. That's looking like that. Just do that for every single one. Pull it across. Pull it down. Pull it across. So now you can see each beat to pump. Alright. One more thing, just getting into trying to make it look as clean as possible. Come over into your effects tab again and type in exposure. Drag that onto the same adjustment layer. This will just make sure when you, on specific shots, you can highlight the shot. So come back to the same amount of keyframes as the scale. If you can't see them, just again hit U. Keyframe at 0. Bring it up. You can bring it up to about 50, doesn't really matter. And then a few keyframes later, you can just bring it back down to 0. So that just makes it a lot brighter when you take the shot. You don't have to easy ease these or anything, just highlight them, Control C to copy them. And then I've just put them on the first shot and the last shot. And just drag it across so you make sure that the shot lines up with this keyframe, which is the one that has got the exposure maxed out. And this one's 0, this one's 0. Alright, so now we can go back into Comp 1. Just have a look at it. Alright, so it's looking alright. So once you got everything done, you just come up here, you're in your comp that's been put together. Everything's all together, so you got your black bars, your adjustment layer and your main comp all in the one comp. So you come up here, you go File, Export, Add to Render Queue. Your best settings down here just under the comp 1, and this is all your settings for your render. So that's your size, that's your resolution. Just keep this all the same. It should be at the stock standard. That's the comp's frame rate. You can choose your own, but I recommend staying at what you've done. And just hit OK. And then once you're done, just hit render. That's just about it. This has just been like a little quick tutorial. I hope it's helped a little bit. I know it's been a bit shit. This is just the first one I've done, so anything that you guys want to see or need to know, just either message me on Twitter or you can just ask in the comments for what you want next, because this stuff's pretty easy to do. Alright, cheers guys.